You close the door and you walk away. And maybe you tell yourself, it is just another ordinary day. But your dog does not know that your dog does not understand jobs or meetings or errands. It only knows that you are suddenly not there, and time for your dog is not measured in hours. It is measured in presence or absence, comfort or silence, connection or loneliness. So when you leave the house, even for a few hours, your dog is left with a space that feels endless, a silence that feels heavy, a heart that does not know how long it must wait. And every time you close that door without thinking, you leave behind more than just a pet. You leave behind a soul that follows you in its mind, that waits at the door, that listens for footsteps, that hopes for the sound of your voice. Some dogs will cry, some will destroy things, some will panic, but others will go completely quiet. And that silence is not peace. That silence is not strength. That silence is not understanding. It is heartbreak dressed in stillness. It is sadness that has forgotten how to make a sound. Part 1. Silence does not mean peace. When your dog stops reacting, when it no longer cries or chews or scratches, when it just lies there in the same spot every day, not moving, not looking, not greeting you at the door, you might think it has adjusted. You might believe it has learned to be alone. But what you are really seeing is something much heavier, something much sadder. You are seeing a heart that has stopped reaching out, a spirit that has gone quiet. Not because it is calm, but because it is tired, because it feels like no one is listening anymore. Silence in dogs is often misunderstood. It is praised. It is mistaken for maturity or obedience. But the truth is that some dogs go silent when they begin to give up, when they begin to believe that no one will come for them. That love no longer means being together, and so they shut down emotionally, not out of strength, but out of survival, because every time you leave and every time you stay gone too long, you are teaching your dog to live without you. And that lesson is the cruelest one of all. Part 2. Signs you may have missed. There are signs your dog is not okay, that are so subtle, so quiet, so ordinary that they are easy to miss. Your dog might stop playing with its favorite toy, not because it is bored, but because it no longer feels like playing means anything. It might sleep more, not because it is relaxed, but because it is trying to escape the loneliness. It might eat less, or only eat when you are present. Not because it is picky, but because your presence brings back a sense of safety and comfort. Your dog might stop coming to the door when you arrive. Not because it does not love you, but because it has learned not to expect anything anymore. These signs do not scream for attention. They whisper. They sit quietly in the corners of your daily routine, and they wait for you to notice your dog is not trying to upset you. It is trying to cope the only way it knows how, by withdrawing, by going still, by becoming invisible. And the longer this continues, the deeper that silence sinks into its heart. And once you lose that sparkle, once the tail no longer wags the same, you begin to realize that your dog never stopped loving you. It only stopped believing that love still meant time together. Part 3. The damage you cannot see. When a dog is left alone for too long, too often, something inside begins to shift. The world starts to feel less safe, less joyful, less connected. Your dog may not understand why it feels this way, but it feels it deeply. It begins to lose interest in the things that once brought excitement, like walks, like toys, like cuddles. And that is not just sadness, that is depression, the kind that builds slowly and silently over time. The kind that is not loud or dramatic but shows up in small ways, in the way your dog looks at the floor more than your face, in the way it stays curled in a corner instead of by your side, in the way it flinches when touched or stops responding altogether. This is not about bad behavior. This is about a broken spirit. Dogs are emotional creatures, and just like people, They need love. They need reassurance. They need consistency. When those things go missing, day after day, the damage becomes harder to undo, and the longer it goes unnoticed, the more it becomes who they are not, because they changed, but because they had to survive in a world that kept forgetting how much they feel. Part 4. Dogs cannot wait forever. People say dogs are loyal, and that they wait forever if they have to. But the truth is, even loyalty has limits when it is not nurtured. Even love begins to wear thin when it is not felt. Dogs do not understand why you leave. They only know how often it happens, and how long they are left to sit, with silence. Dogs are pack animals. They are not built for isolation. They are wired for companionship, connection, daily presence, and when they do not get that, they begin to drift. Not because they do not love you, but because they do not know how to keep holding on when nothing reassures them. Any more waiting is not just time passing. It is emotional labor. It is longing. It is silent pain. And your dog does that every single time you leave the house and do not return for hours. And sometimes that waiting turns into fear. Sometimes it turns into distance. And sometimes it turns into a quiet acceptance that maybe this is just life now. A life with long hours of nothing and brief flashes of togetherness that fade too fast. Dogs do not need you every second, but they need to believe you care, that being alone is not the new normal, but the exception, not the rule. Part 5. How you can help heal them. You do not have to quit your job and stay home forever to make your dog feel loved. You do not have to be perfect or always present. You just have to be intentional, because healing starts with understanding, and small changes can bring back so much light into your dog's world. Start by making your goodbyes quiet. No guilt, no drama, just calm and simple. Your energy sets the tone. And if you act like everything is okay, your dog can start to believe it too. Leave something that smells like you, an old shirt, a blanket, anything familiar and warm. Leave music playing or a soft voice recording. Let the house feel alive even when you are not in it. Make time before and after work for presence. Not just chores or distractions, but real eye contact, real touch, real play. Your dog does not count the minutes. It counts the moments, and one moment of connection can undo hours of loneliness over time. Create patterns your dog can trust. Be consistent and kind, because routines build security, and security builds peace. And if you truly cannot be home, often consider a dog walker, or a neighbor, or a friend, someone to help your dog feel seen, because no living soul should feel forgotten day after day. Part 6. The hope that never fully dies. Even after all the waiting, even after all the silence, even after all the days spent alone, your dog still hopes. Your dog still listens for the sound of your footsteps, still stirs at the creak of the floor, still watches the door, because the truth is, dogs do not give up on love easily. They do not stop believing that one day things might be different. They hold on to little things. The sound of your key, the rhythm of your voice, the smell of your hands, and even when they have grown quiet, even when they no longer greet you the same, there is still something inside them, waiting for you to see, waiting for you to understand and to choose them again. And you can choose them today with one moment of presence, one kind word, one change that tells them you see their heart, and it matters. If this message touched you, if you felt something stir in your chest, if your dog crossed your mind, even for a second, then let this be your reminder to never leave their love unanswered again. This is PupSchool by the online dog trainer, and if you want to keep learning how to love your dog, better please subscribe and check the link in the description below, because your dog has been waiting not just for your return, but for your understanding. Conclusion. Last words for those who have left their dogs alone. If you are watching this and feeling a little guilty, if you are thinking about all the times you left the house in a rush without saying goodbye, if you are remembering how your dog stopped waiting at the door, or how it seemed to lose a little sparkle every week, then please know this is not about blame. This is about awakening. This is about choosing differently. Starting today, not perfectly, not instantly, but with more awareness, more presence, more heart. Because dogs do not ask for much. They only ask for you. They only want to know that their love is not one-sided, that their waiting is not wasted, that the bond they feel is also real to you. You do not have to undo the past. You only have to honor the present. You only have to see them again. Really see them not just as a pet, but as a soul who gave you everything long before you realized it. And if this message touched you, if it made you think, if it reminded you how much your dog loves you, then please subscribe to PupSchool by the online dog trainer and share this with someone else who needs to hear it. Because somewhere behind a closed door, a dog is still waiting, and you have the power to change what that waiting feels like.